it takes a long time to train a human on anything, right? It just takes time. It takes not only time, but also resources. You have to have all of, in AI, we call it a knowledge base, but in a traditional business, you'd probably call it like SOPs, standard operating procedures, to go and say, hey, you need to read all of this, and this is our stuff. And guess what? That human being is, after all, a human, and they're still going to make mistakes. They're going to forget certain things. The beauty of artificial intelligence is that, going back to this knowledge base, every client that we bring onto PropertyBots, we help them build a custom knowledge base. And AI has a photographic memory. So the moment you ingest data into it, it never forgets.
You're asking yourself, why am I doing this?
Smart people would know how to use all these different tools. They start with something small.
And never get your entire organization if you don't pull off operations.
Don't give up.
It can be as small as that.
I think you guys are going to have our last today.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Delegate That podcast, where we discuss the art and science of delegation, business management, and leadership. Today, I am stoked to chat with a good friend of mine, Kevin Brenner, former business partner, all sorts. I mean, we felt like we built a fund together. We did all sorts of crazy stuff. So I'm really looking forward to chatting with you about your experience, kind of how things have been going for you, and the new thing you have going on. And so welcome to the Delegate That podcast, Kevin. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us about what you got going on.
Yeah. Thanks, Adam. So kind of, we won't touch on the past too much, but we've known each other now for like 6 years or give or take. And we've built a lot of cool things together for the military community, and it was really, really valuable. The thing that I have been on kind of the last 2 years, probably like a lot of your listeners, maybe more so. I kind of tend to go like inch wide, mile deep in super nerd mode, but that's AI. I think this is a great fit for folks listening to this podcast right now, because we're talking about delegation, right? And the traditional sense of delegation is, probably like hiring a virtual assistant or even just getting stuff off of your plate. Well, what if artificial intelligence can do the bulk of that work for you? And how does that look from a technical perspective to actually building this out? And I'm just happy to be able to share value with your audience, man.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it. I've, like a lot of us will talk about AI and, having conversations with it, how we develop things, how do we do all this stuff. And there are some people, and it sounds like you're included in this, and I'm looking forward to hearing more details on this, because I don't know a ton about what you have going on with the AI side of the house. But some people are really specializing in that and using that to take over a bunch of their work, like just completely take over stuff. And it's like, you can't really delegate much better than having a good solid AI thing. So walk me through a little bit about how you kind of got to this idea of using AI the way you do. And just tell us more about what that is and how you quote unquote use AI to delegate.
Yeah. So, it all kind of started with the company that we were building together, right? At Active Duty Passive Income. And for listeners out there who aren't familiar, it's really, it's a high ticket education company, right? And we would get a lot of leads and all of this stuff. And about 2 years ago, I started kind of dabbling in building chatbots and just seeing what that would look like. And all of these new systems were coming on in play, where the traditional chatbot was, folks out there might have heard of like ManyChat or something like that. And it's essentially like a chatbot on your website, and it lets you like choose from those bubbles, right? Like it would ask you a question, then choose from those bubbles. And then based on what bubble you selected, almost like a multiple choice question, it would go and bring you an answer to that, right? Which is relatively helpful compared to having to talk to a real human. That's pretty good. Well, the next evolution of that was integrating artificial intelligence into that and actually training, using machine learning to train essentially an employee, right? And that's how I kind of explain it to people is it's artificial intelligence, but these are employees that would you would be hiring, right? And they are sitting there 24/7, 365, no bathroom breaks, no vacation days, no sick days, anything like that. And they're completely smart on your business, right? And they're able to go and answer these questions dynamically using artificial intelligence. So we started doing that and integrating that into the high ticket course education, and we got a lot of traction. Just answering people's Facebook questions or helping them, guide them to the right product set that we wanted them to see or whatever, and getting them on webinars and doing all of these things. So I was starting to play around with that and understanding that and figuring out how I can leverage that for my own business. And really what that looked like was, as you know, I left Washington, D.C. My wife and I moved to Portugal for a while. And we came back to launch a house flipping company here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, I was at the time, I was, like building bots for about a year and a half. And I say, hey, what would it look like if I built an AI assistant for my house flipping company? Like, what would that look like? So I was just playing around with it. And I built one. And in the house flipping business, for some of your listeners who might not be super attuned to that business, a lot of your leads will come in through what we call PPL, pay per lead services. So essentially you're buying per lead $100, $200, $300 a lead. And the name of the game really with that is once the lead comes in, boom, you got to like text that lead back, because this lead is essentially telling you, hey, I want to sell my house for cash. So like, and of course, in house flipping, that's where your value, you're coming in and you're buying the distressed home. And so the name of the game is, how can I build rapport as quickly as humanly possible with this person and get on a meeting and offer them buy their house from them essentially. Right. And help them out. Well, a lot of people, what I assumed that kind of all house flippers were using AI technology to just instantly respond. So I started getting these leads. My bot was instantly responding and it was booking appointments on my calendar. I'd go out to the property, I'd meet the homeowner, talk to them, offer them a contract on the spot. Again, I thought all house flippers were doing this. So I'm in Charlotte and I'm going to these meetups and I'm telling people what I'm doing, and their brains are just melting at them. They're like, you can do that? Like, show me how. And I was like, this sounds a lot like an opportunity. But I would like, at that time, this was, let's rewind. This was maybe, I don't know, July of 24, right? So not a terrible amount of time ago, 8 months ago, something like that. And, so I'm like playing with this idea. And then fast forward to December, I went to Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny. And we were, my wife and I were still, we have this house under contract. We're actively flipping this house and we got more leads coming in and the bot is doing its thing, and that's great. Well, going through that experience, it led me to, kind of just pounce on an opportunity. And I just decided, okay, I got to go all in on this. Like, now is the time with AI. And a lot of, for comparison for like your audience out there, like, if you think you're late to the game in AI, you're not. This is like 2012 Bitcoin stuff, guys. Like, yeah, like this is very, very, very early. So don't feel like you missed the boat. The technology is rapidly improving. But yeah, I decided to go kind of all in on this. And while I was at Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins, I'm building the website for PropertyBots, because I knew, like, Adam, I'm sure you're like this, and I'm sure your listeners are like this. As entrepreneurs, we don't typically, well, some people do. Let me speak for myself. I don't start a business to make a bunch of money. I start a business to solve a problem. And I know if the problem that I'm solving is valuable enough, the money will come. And the problem I'm solving with PropertyBots is speed to lead in the front end sales funnels for investors and flippers and wholesalers and even home service companies and all kinds of stuff like that. Because these folks are getting a bunch of leads and they're unable to keep up. They're actually drowning in the amount of leads, and they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars per month in marketing, and they're essentially flushing that down the toilet. And the best way to get to these people is reduce their speed to lead to zero. And that's what we do at PropertyBots with advanced voice AI technology and text AI and Instagram DM AI. And we build all of these solutions custom, for each one of these businesses, and they're able to capture a ton more of their leads. And, these leads, if they're flipping houses, I mean, shoot, Adam, each one of these leads can be worth $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. So that's kind of where this all came about. That would, I would say, was the abridged version. So hopefully that helps give some context.
Dude, that is phenomenal. But I mean, I look at it and think to myself, I've had conversations with folks about VAs, and they're like, oh, well, if, depending on the accent they have, people don't want to talk to them and all these different things. Like, what's the problem with this? And how do you work with that? So I'm trying to picture through, AI. I mean, some AI stuff is phenomenal. There's just one ad that keeps popping up on my YouTube, and it's like, this guy, it's clearly AI. This guy's talking, saying, I'm the only one that shows live trades all on these things and blah, blah, blah. And then it says, I live stream to do this instead of I live stream. And it's like, no, clearly there's some things. So as you were kind of building this out, right? Like, anytime we have a traditional VA or somebody we're delegating stuff to, it takes us a long time to train that person. And then, and they're thinking at the speed they're able to think. What sort of things have you had to do in this sense to kind of train the AI to do the job for you, to help them learn what you're trying to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's there's a couple major delineators between using the VA or the call center versus artificial intelligence, right? So the big one is the foreign accents. It's a big turnoff, especially when you're doing any B2C type of business where a homeowner. I'm going to keep kind of on the property bots thing, like the homeowners are like, wait, what? Who are you from? This is a scam. Hang up, click, done. Like they don't, even though that they filled out a form and all of this stuff that online that they may have wanted to be contacted, they don't want to talk to, someone with a thick accent. So that's going to be number one. And then you also hit on the training. It takes a long time to train a human on anything, right? It just takes time. It takes not only time, but also resources. You have to have all of, in AI, we call it a knowledge base, but in a traditional business, you'd probably call it like SOPs, standard operating procedures, to go and say, hey, you need to read all of this and this is our stuff. And guess what? That human being is, after all, a human, and they're still going to make mistakes. They're going to forget certain things. The beauty of artificial intelligence is that, going back to this knowledge base, every client that we bring onto PropertyBots, we help them build a custom knowledge base. And AI has a photographic memory. So the moment you ingest data into it, it never forgets. It always knows. And guess what? You can upload as much as you humanly possible, as much as you could possibly think of. You can upload it, and it will, there's some, technical stuff with some formatting and how to do it. But if you have a professional do that for you, it's really easy to essentially instantly train your AI employee on everything that you would need to know about your business, and then it can dynamically, essentially like a memory, like reach out to that. It's never going to forget, anything like that. Even for mine, I have demos on my website and stuff, and we'll run one later on in the show here. But when I call it and I say it's going to ask me my name and I say it's Kevin Brenner, it'll know, be like, oh, boss man, what's up? It'll know because it knows, it knows what's going on. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. But that training aspect is it really reduces the time to get your AI employee up to speed. It's getting them up to speed is how quickly can you upload this stuff.
What sort of systems have you used to kind of create this process?
Yeah. So lots of different systems. There's, in the space right now, I won't say it's a Wild West right now, but there are a lot of different competing. Anytime new technology comes out, there's always going to be these competing different firms and stuff, and what to use. And honestly, I bounce between a lot of different ones for my back end, whether it's CloseBot, whether it's retail, whether it's Ultravox, whether it's there's new ones coming online like Sesame and some other things. Well, that's a research project right now, but I'm sure they're going to productize it at some point. The real magic in this is being able to connect all of these systems together to solve whatever problem you're trying to solve. Like, the one thing that we do really, really well at, that we pride ourselves at PropertyBots, is combining voice AI technology and SMS AI technology in a very seamless manner. So for example, let's go back to that lead, Adam, you got a house flipping company, right? And you're paying, a lead comes into your system. Instantaneously, when they fill out that web form on your system, they get a phone call, and it's hey, this is Chris. I'm an AI voice assistant with Adam's company, with the Delegate That podcast. I saw you were interested in selling your house. Can I ask you a couple questions? And it's going to go through all of the custom qualifying questions that you want to ask, dynamically update the custom fields in your CRM, and if it doesn't get the questions, if it doesn't get all of them, say you hang up, you're like, I don't want to talk to this thing anymore. Okay, that's cool. Well, guess what? The text bot is going to follow up with a text that says something like, hey, it's Alex here from the Delegate That podcast. I heard you were talking to my teammate, Chris. Is it okay if I ask you a couple last minute questions here to get you booked on an appointment? And then it's going to consistently and dynamically follow up with that person. So the days of, in sales, this, all the sales happen in the follow up, right? The days of having to track all of these leads and follow up with them, the AI is going to handle that for you. And for my clients in the wholesaling and house flipping, they make money not when they get a lead or even buy a house. They make money when they sell it or assign the contract on the disposition, right? So that's really where these people want to focus. But in order to scale, they have to focus on the front end. So what I'm doing is relieving them of a lot of that pressure on the front end so they can go and redirect their eye on the dispo, make that super efficient, and scale from there.
Now, what it seems like, to sum it up in the delegation side of the house, is you've delegated a lot of the work to AI, and now other people are delegating their need to do all of that to you, right? And your company, like, you did all of that front end work, you put all the effort into it. I would imagine. So I know you said you and your wife are both doing the flips. Is she helping you on the AI side as well, or is she more focused on the management of the flip side at the moment? How's that going?
Yeah, she's kind of managing the flip side right now, and this, I have a full development team. I have a chief product officer, and we have a full team that we're going and building these solutions. And like I said, everything we build for our clients is completely customized to them, from not only obviously the knowledge base, like we talked about, everything that the business does, but even down to the AI employee's name, their tonality, how they sound. Is it a male voice? Is it a female voice? Is it, like all of that stuff is completely customized to them and their business. And we find we have active clients right now, and they're just getting a ton of success with this. One that I love to share this story. This happened last week for one of my clients. A lead fills out an online form at 12:35 a.m. The bot calls the lead, answers all the questions, books them on an appointment for the next morning, and they close the contract. Now, that would not have happened because no one's answering the phone at 12:35 in the morning. It's just not happening. And that was, that lead was, was worth about $50,000. So that's kind of the stuff that I see AI moving in that direction. Like, even, small businesses are obviously going to take a while to adopt this technology, and we're helping them with that. But like at the large corporate level, I think in the next 2-3 years, if you find yourself on hold, you're going to be pretty upset, because it's just not going to be a thing anymore.
Now, you're obviously you're creating a company, right? You started kind of creating this back in July, I think you said, of last year. Like the actual website, or the actual.
It was more like December. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The website stuff you started creating in December. The idea kind of came in July. When you're in that creation mode, sometimes it's hard to give up some of the stuff. But you mentioned already having a chief product officer, multiple teams, development, all that type of stuff. How did you kind of figure out what you really needed to control? Because you were the one that was really digging into the AI. You understood it all. How did you kind of figure out what to let other people take care of versus what you needed to take care of?
Yeah, I think and this is a great question. I think it kind of goes into complementary skills, right? So I had joined a bunch of masterminds. Like I'm a big believer in just getting in the room. Our entire business, everything I've done, even with our GoBundance and everything, just being in the room is really, really important. So for me, one of the first things I did as I was kind of getting serious about this idea was I just started joining a bunch of school groups, like Alex Hormozy's school, and just started joining, like $35 here, $150 there, whatever. It's just, you pay to play, and you understand, and you start meeting a lot of the same people. And it's really easy to see who the movers and shakers are in each one of those groups. Well, it turns out one of the guys in this group was a former F-15 pilot, or a WISO, weapons. Yeah. I mean, I can't go too Air Forcey here, but for the listeners out there, Adam and I are both Air Force vets. Anyway, so he was in there, and he's building, he has his own agency, and he's building clients, and we got to talking, and hey, I'm in the Air Force too, and blah, blah, blah. We actually know some of the same people. We both the same year group and all this stuff. So we got to talking, and he was much smarter on the product side, and I am much better on the sales side. So, and he was not very good at the sales side. So having those kind of offsetting complementary, it's really important. Obviously when you're going to delegate tasks, can I do the product development? Of course I can. Is it the best value of my time? Like, is it the best use of my time when I'm trying to grow a company that is completely dependent on sales? Well, no, so it's give and take. There's sales and marketing, and then there's fulfillment, right? So I have to have someone work on the fulfillment, and I kind of use the same, our development team is all in the Philippines, and they're awesome. They know how to do a lot of the technical stuff to, like I said, connecting everything together, and it's a lot of code and making that all work. But again, they're doing things that, can I do that development? Have I learned JSON and coding? Of course I have. Like, I think I spent like 3 hours doing one API call, one custom API call, when I talked to Jay, my developer, and he was like, "Yeah, it took him 15 minutes to do." I was like, "Dang!" So it's just like, yeah, like, how valuable is your time? Was that a huge learning experience for me? Yeah, I love that. But again, it's not something I need to be doing. What I need to be doing is getting in the room and going inch wide, mile deep on our niche, which is the real estate investor, the wholesaler, the flipper, kind of the high volume you folks, and making that happen. And that's exactly what we've been able to do to acquire a great book of business and scale from there.
Yeah, I think that one of the keys to delegating is knowing if you know what your highest and best use of time is, and you know where your specialty lies, and you know where it doesn't lie, even if you can get it, it's better to delegate it out to somebody who like, that is their specialty. Let them do it. Let them run with it. Let them focus on it. And my specialty is not answering a phone call at 12:30 in the morning, or making a phone call at 12:30 in the morning. So delegating that to your AI, it sounds like a phenomenal thing to do, because if somebody else is up at 12:30 in the morning and wants to take that call, wants to set that call up, then let them do it. That's not me. Let me sleep.
And you would not believe how many of these leads come through, at 3:15 in the morning, 2 a.m. And so these are some of the best leads. Like, these are people, obviously the people, in this space, if they're filling out forms at 2, 3 in the morning, they are extremely problem aware. They're like, they're going to foreclose on my house next week. I got to figure this out.
I got to fix it. Yeah.
I got to fix it. Like, whatever the case may be. And yeah, like, that's just how it works.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I mean, what a way to answer a problem that a lot of folks have, right? Because now you're answering the problem even better for the people whose houses might be getting foreclosed on. You're answering the problem for the people who are trying to close. Like, what a phenomenal way to go about this. So, how do you foresee continuing to grow this out? Like, what is your goal as you're continuing to build it? Like, is it more employees? Is it just continuing to refine the bot? Is it like, what does this look like for you as you continue to grow this out?
Yeah, I think it's multifaceted. Our goal is to hit 20 clients by the end of 2025, active clients, all in the wholesaler space. And we're well on pace to do that right now, which is great. And it, from the business development side, I go back to that thing, being in the room. I was able to reach out and through my connections, actually through GoBundance, I was able to reach out and become the strategic partner for the Collective Genius, which is pretty much the premier mastermind for wholesalers and flippers in the country. Every one of their members is doing $2, $5, $10 million businesses, and they all need this solution. So talk about finding your niche. And then I was able to speak at their conference, and now I'm kind of speaking at their conferences every quarter and just helping them out with AI. So that's kind of getting in there and working some of these other national masterminds and being involved kind of there is on the business development side. On the product side, we're always working with the product. So that's another reason why I felt it prudent to get someone whose main job is focusing on product development, because as you can imagine, Adam, this technology is changing like that, just like just crazy, like super fast, always changing. So I want to make sure our clients are the tip of the spear on this stuff. And, from most of them, like, this is light years ahead of anything they've ever experienced before. Even seemingly basic stuff for us would, a text bot or something like that, or a live chat widget on their website that we can go and build. Seemingly basic stuff for AI developers. These folks, they're really helpful tools. So by combining inbound voice and outbound voice and text and DM and DBR, database reactivation, and live chat widgets, like connecting this entire out of the box solution that we can turn it on and off like a light switch, it's exceptionally valuable. But it's only as valuable as long as we continue to work on the product. And yeah, I think that's, really my business philosophy here is, yeah, we're creating AI chatbots and all of that stuff. And that's cool. We're solving a problem, but we're going to be the absolute best at customer service, because that's what clients that they want. If they need to put a ticket in or anything like that, we're going to have like the best turnaround time in the industry. We're going to have the best, like, that's where I really, really want us to focus as we do scale. And I think there's a lot of opportunity in the space.
Have you set up this type of chatbot to be an assistant inside of your own company, not just developing property bots, but to do what you talked about there with helping your clients and be the best customer service? Do you have the AI that's being your customer service representative as well?
We're actually developing that right now. Right now we do have bots all over our website that help, and we have demos and all kinds of things. I'm happy to run one now if your audience wants to hear it. Okay, so let's do that. So what it's going to do is it's going to call me, and then I'm just going to give me a thumbs up if you hear anything on the other end. But let's see what happens here. I just got to put it on speakerphone when it calls. So it's thinking about it. Okay, so now it's calling me, and let me put it on speakerphone. Hello?
Sure thing. I'll wait while you get that set up. Let me know when you're ready, no rush.
Oh, I'm ready now. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. I am Chris, your friendly AI voice assistant from PropertyBots. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm on a podcast called Delegate That with Adam Labar, and I've been hyping you up pretty hard, so don't screw this up, all right?
No pressure, right? Don't worry. I'm like the AI version of star quarterback cool under pressure and ready to deliver. Let's make you look like a genius on that podcast. Ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. First, can you share your first and last name so I know who I'm hyping up here?
It's Kevin Brenner.
Kevin Brenner, the legend himself. Thanks, Kevin. Now, what's the name of your business? Let's make sure I'm hyping the right empire here.
It's PropertyBots.AI.
PropertyBots.AI, got it. The AI powerhouse. Now, in a few words, what's the main service or product you provide your clients? Let's make sure I'm pitching it like a pro.
Yeah, I'll just hang up there. But the idea is that it's going to go through, it's going to get all your business information, and then it's going to do a live demo and sell its services back to you. And then I could book a call with myself. But having something like that instantly answer your phone when someone calls in, extremely valuable.
And the voice sounds a whole lot better than a lot of the other, of course, voice machines that you have, and the response is good. And, you could tell it just confused, I think, at the beginning what your intent was. Your intent was to kind of show property bots, and it was trying to.
Well, it's because I was talking. Yeah, it's because I was talking while turning speakerphone on. It was, yeah. But,
No, I could tell immediately though what it was doing, and it was it's clearly using AI and being smart about it, and it was being intelligent in the conversation on what it heard. So that was awesome. Now, when you are about to pitch this to somebody else, let's say they already have a team, and by no means am I saying that I want to use this to completely eliminate the team, but you and I both know that efficiencies in teams is how you're better able to make things happen. If you have the right person in the right seat, how things are going. If somebody, and you even talked about it yourself, if you were the one that was sitting there doing the product development instead of the sales, you're the wrong person in that seat. So, making sure you have the right person in the right seat. How do you kind of talk to people about this particular thing inside of their business? They're a CEO and they're like, hey, I need this, but how do I tell Johnny, or what do I do with Susie, or what do I do? How do you kind of have some of those conversations?
Yeah. So this is a great question, and obviously I get this all the time from CEOs. The big idea here is AI is not designed to replace people. It's designed to make your people more efficient. So going back to, my primary niche of wholesalers and flippers and all this stuff, their kind of business, that they have what they call lead managers or acquisition managers who are in charge of, having these conversations with home sellers, right? So, the AI would do that for them. So what do these people do? Well, what I tell folks is, hey, if you have 2-3 lead managers right now, the AI is going to do the bulk of the work for them. Keep one of them or 2 of them, whatever, and train them on how to review these conversations, right? Like kind of looking 30,000 foot, and they're looking at all the text conversations. They're listening to the audio conversations. They're making sure that everything's working, kind of controlling it that way. And that way they're much more efficient, because there are tasks in your business where a human is just going to need to do things, whether they're creative tasks or whatever. So it's more about freeing up that time for those folks, as opposed to simply just, cutting the slack. Now, will this help you cut slack in your business? Of course it will. 100%. But it's exclusively not designed to do that. It's designed to make your business more efficient. And like I said, like I tell people, like, imagine, you have your office, you have your people. Imagine having 3 or 4 seats that are just empty in desks, and that's where your AI employees sit. Because all of this stuff, everything we build does bot to bot handoffs and bot to human handoffs and all of these things, so that if your clients or leads or whoever, they want to talk to a human, boom, it instantly transfers them, no problem. That is totally doable. So you need that infrastructure, right? But it's just about making your business more efficient and being able to scale. And even the simplest thing of answering the phone outside of business hours, and answering it with a very high degree, not a foreign accent with a weird call center who screws up and puts the wrong information in your CRM and doesn't book the appointment. Like all of this stuff, it books dynamically. It does all of that. So yeah, it really does help.
It feels bad to say, it's going to cut some slack in some ways, but at the same point, if you are a business owner and you're operating a business, it's called slack for a reason, because things aren't running tight and you need to be running a tight ship. So, people can't be afraid to cut slack. If there's already slack there, even if you're not replacing it with AI, you got to replace it with something. You got to get rid of the slack regardless. So why not a tool that's going to be there day in, day out, has the knowledge base that you needed to have to be able to understand it. But I loved the thought that you had on like, take that person who's had maybe 700 of these phone calls already and audit what the AI is doing, because the AI is there to learn. So if you type stuff in and say, hey, the way you handled this, the way you answered that, the thing that you did here, let's try this next time, and like constantly, helping the AI learn, like what a great way to hey, like success usually happens this way, and kind of edit it. So I love the focus on that route.
Something we're doing exactly that. A client asked me to just do a side project for them, and we're essentially, they're having, so this is more on their sales calls, right, with their closers. But what we're doing is we've created a system where the calls are being recorded with like Fathom AI or Otter or whatever they're using to record and transcribe the calls, right? That transcription, then we're feeding it through ChatGPT, the large language model, right? Feeding it through, and then we built a custom GPT for them that has like all of their, that we've uploaded all of their successful sales calls to, and it has their best practices. And what it's doing is it's comparing the transcription of the call that was just had, scoring that call, and then giving the closer instant feedback. So sending them an email and be like, hey, that was a great call, but this is what you could have done better. And it's kind of like, and that's how you really train your sales staff, because in sales, every great sales organization, it really, really needs a great sales manager, and that is 100% a full-time job. So they asked me to kind of work on that project, and it's another creative solution, to how can you integrate AI into your business system to actually drive revenue and not necessarily just save time. And that I think we're helping with PropertyBots, but with this side project too. One other thing, Adam, that I think, we've been talking about AI for business, right? And that's helpful. AI can do a lot more good than that. So this is something I'm working on right now. There is a nonprofit that helps with human trafficking, and what we are doing. So right now, they have a team that scours the dark web for information from women who are being trafficked. And they reach out to them via text message, and they try to get them resources to get them out of that situation. Well, what we're doing is we are working with this nonprofit, and obviously this isn't like business development for us. This is a give back, but we are building bots for them to follow up, because sometimes these women, like, they can't answer the phone, or they don't answer the phone, and they follow up, and they'll follow up in the middle of the night or whatever. Well, the bot can go and be super empathetic and can have conversations with them and direct them to resources, whether that's physically getting extracted from the situation, or whether that's online resources or something like that. So that's just something that we're working on kind of on the side to help out. But AI has an extreme, like, it's not just about making money in business. We have, like, if we could help one person get out of a situation like that, I mean, that's incredible. That's physically changes their life.
For sure. Like, unbelievably so. So, Kevin, it's been awesome to kind of dig into this and understanding where you're going. I love the angle of using AI for delegation and really just kind of building the business around it. And I absolutely love what you're doing. So, if folks like what they hear, they want to reach out to you, kind of learn a little bit more, what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
Yeah. So, number one, check out PropertyBots. It's just www.PropertyBots.AI. And you can go and learn on there. You can demo the text bot. You can demo the voice bot, the thing that we were doing earlier, and just play around. I encourage you, like, even if you have no interest in this stuff, just you wouldn't believe how many people just like log in and play around with it just to see. It's just a lot of fun. So check that out. And then of course, if you have any direct questions, you want to connect, just shoot me an email. It's Kevin@PropertyBots.AI.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, thank you again for jumping on. Folks, reach out to Kevin. Check out his website, PropertyBots.AI. Thank you again, Kevin, for jumping on. Thank you for everybody for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment. Tell us what you think about PropertyBots. Tell us what you think about what you could see it doing inside of your business, how you guys have been using AI. And I look forward to seeing everybody on the next episode. And thank you again, Kevin. And we will talk to everybody soon.
Thanks, Adam.